My name is Peter Werner, and I'd like to read another passage. This one is on page 385 of Dr. Lee's book, The Old Timer. He wrote it on July 21st, 1988 for the Mondovi Herald newspaper. Here we go. Reading the front page of the Eau Claire Leader a while back, there was a picture of a blacksmith, self-taught at his forge, turning the big handle on the air machine that creates the hot coal fire he needs to heat the iron to white heat, so he can shape and weld the iron into useful tools. Just like it was when Longfellow wrote the poem of the village smith. Looking up from my chair on my porch, I see the little block building across the street on the northwest corner of the high school parking lot. Again, I'm reminded of the great changes in high school curriculum. Farm boys, we still have them in greater numbers today than ever. How many stay home to help Pa do the farm work today? Most likely, they drove the pickup to school and will go on to college upon graduation. So the little block building. Yes, I was in the grades when the board decided to take advantage of the one and only janitor's skill. Why? Because he was also a skilled blacksmith. The janitor that fired the big wood furnace and swept the floors in the high school and the Whelan building and the old Lincoln School first and second grade building. Farmers wanted their boys to learn a useful skill. And the newly built block building provided for that very course back in 1918 with a forge and a hand-driven air machine just like the one in the Leader story. High school students, especially farm boys, learn from the janitor how to shoe horses, how to weld two pieces of iron together, to fit an iron rim on a wagon wheel without bolts or screws, so necessary in those days, swedging the red-hot rim on the wood wheel. Fundamentals in ironwork that were useful to know and do on the farm. Trimming horses' hooves made it all for a very useful and practical course, and it was provided for a number of years. Today, the little block building stands a storehouse, a repair shop for modern lawnmowers, a reminder to me of the way life, the janitor that taught all the farm boys a very practical course in those days gone by. Yep, Percy Claflin was a blacksmith, janitor, and teacher. This concludes the reading. And if I may make a few comments, this can be edited out if you like. I remember that block building. It was on the boundary where Wright's property met the parking lot, student and staff parking lot. Of course, when the block building was built, it was behind the old high school there. That's been torn down since then. I always wondered what that building was for because it seemed to stick out like a sore thumb. It didn't belong to anything. I knew there was storing things in there, but I didn't know. So now I know it was actually a blacksmith shop. That is wonderful. It was probably the first industrial arts class of Mondovi High School, for all I know. I can't imagine there being a shop room or a shop classroom in the old high school. So maybe Mondovi was ahead of their time with that. I wonder. And one other little thing, I went to college at Stout in Menominee, and I was an art major. And while I was a student there in the 70s, one of the art instructors, one of the professors, he taught metalsmithing, jewelry, and casting and things like that. He revived a blacksmithing course. He went out and found some old materials, and it was begun when I was there. They started recognizing in those days, this is the 70s, that was a valuable art and an art in itself. And I remember him saying to me that some of his most valuable written resources were in the Stout library itself. And back in the 1890s and the early 1900s, it was called the Stout Manual Training School. And there were still, in the 1970s, textbooks in the library that anyone could check out on the art of blacksmithing. So my 1970s jewelry teacher went to the library, took out those books, and that helped him with his curriculum as he developed this new course of blacksmithing. It was very popular. I couldn't fit it into my schedule, but a good friend of mine did, and I would go in there when I had a free moment and watch him work. It looked like a lot of fun. So those two things, the blacksmithing. I'm so glad that Roy wrote about that. It was fun for me to read. Again, thank you for the opportunity for the reading. Have a great day.